12 Months and the Wild Violets. In a small village nestled beside a whispering wood lived a young woman named Alara. She was known throughout the village for her kindness and her gentle spirit, but these qualities were not appreciated within her own home. Her mother had passed away when she was young, and her father, succumbing to loneliness, had remarried a woman named Agatha, who was as cold and cruel as Alara was warm and kind. Agatha had a daughter named Millicent, who was spoiled, selfish, and thoroughly unpleasant. From the moment Agatha arrived, Alara's life had become a relentless cycle of chores and unkindness. She cooked, cleaned, mended, and tended to the garden, all while Agatha and Millicent sat by the fire, complaining and demanding more. Alara never complained, holding on to the hope that one day, things might improve. One particularly harsh winter, the snow fell thick and fast, blanketing the entire village in a pristine, but unforgiving, white. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, and the temperature plummeted, biting at exposed skin. It was on such a day that Agatha, sitting by the roaring fire, turned to Alara with a wicked glint in her eye. "Alara," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "I have a task for you." Alara braced herself. She knew that nothing good ever came after those words. "I have a craving," Agatha continued, "a desperate craving for wild violets. Millicent simply must have a bouquet to brighten her complexion. The freshest, most fragrant wild violets you can find. Go now, and don't return without them." Alara's heart sank. Wild violets bloomed in the spring, not in the dead of winter. To ask her to find them now was a cruel joke, a blatant attempt to get rid of her. "But, Mother," Alara stammered, "there are no violets in winter. The ground is frozen, and the snow is too deep." Agatha's smile vanished, replaced by a furious scowl. "Are you questioning me, girl? Do you dare disobey? Go! I don't care how you do it. Find the violets, or don't bother coming back at all." Millicent, never one to miss an opportunity to torment Alara, added, "And make sure they are purple violets, not those common blue ones. Purple is so much more elegant." With a heavy heart, Alara wrapped herself in her thin cloak and stepped out into the biting wind. The snow crunched under her worn boots as she trudged towards the whispering wood. The trees, skeletal and stark against the gray sky, seemed to mock her with their bare branches. Tears stung her eyes, blurring her vision. She knew her stepmother was trying to kill her, sending her out into the elements to freeze to death. Deep inside the woods, following a barely discernible path, Alara stumbled upon a clearing she had never seen before. In the center burned a large fire, casting a warm, flickering glow on the surrounding snow. Seated around the fire were 12 figures, each bundled in cloaks of varying colors, their faces illuminated by the flames. They were men, but there was something ancient and otherworldly about them, a sense of power that emanated from their very presence. Overcome with a mixture of fear and curiosity, Alara hesitated, then stepped into the clearing. The figures turned to look at her, their eyes filled with a knowing wisdom. One, a man with a long white beard and a cloak the color of January snow, spoke. "What brings you to our gathering, child, on such a bitter day?" Alara, trembling with cold and fear, curtsied. "Forgive my intrusion, kind sirs. My stepmother has sent me out to find wild violets, but it is winter, and the ground is frozen. The man with the white beard nodded. We know your plight, Elara. We are the 12 months, and we have seen your suffering. Elara's eyes widened in disbelief. She had heard tales of the 12 months, the guardians of the seasons, but she had always dismissed them as mere folklore. The man gestured to another figure, a younger man with a cloak the color of March rain. It is not for January to grant your wish. March, perhaps you can help this maiden? March rose, his eyes filled with sympathy. I can bring forth a gentle thaw, but I cannot force the violets to bloom. That is the domain of April. He then gestured to a man with a cloak the color of April blossoms. April, would you lend your aid? April smiled, a warm and gentle smile that seemed to melt the snow around him. Gladly. But the violets need warmth and light to truly flourish. That is the work of May. And so, each month spoke in turn, passing the task to the next, each contributing their unique power to help Elara. January calmed the biting wind. February softened the snow. March brought a gentle rain. April coaxed the first buds from the frozen earth. May warmed the air with sunshine. June filled the clearing with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Finally, under the combined influence of the months, something miraculous happened. The snow in the clearing melted away, revealing a carpet of lush green moss. And nestled amongst the moss, their delicate petals unfurling in the warmth, were hundreds of wild violets. Not just any violets, but the most vibrant, velvety purple violets Elara had ever seen. Tears of joy streamed down Elara's face as she carefully gathered the violets, creating a fragrant bouquet. She thanked the 12 months profusely, her heart overflowing with gratitude. Remember, Elara, said January, his voice strong and clear, kindness and perseverance will always be rewarded. But greed and cruelty will always be punished. With the bouquet clutched tightly in her hand, Elara returned to her village. When she arrived at her stepmother's house, Agatha and Millicent were stunned into silence. They couldn't believe their eyes. Where did you get those? Agatha stammered, her face contorted with envy. From the woods, Mother, Elara replied, her voice stronger than it had ever been before. The 12 months showed me kindness. Agatha, consumed by greed and a burning desire to outdo Elara, decided that she, too, would seek the help of the 12 months. She grabbed Millicent and, despite the freezing temperatures, marched into the woods. They followed Elara's path, their noses turned up in disdain at the humble surroundings. Finally, they reached the clearing where the 12 months were still gathered. We demand your help. Agatha shrieked, her voice grating on the peaceful atmosphere. We want strawberries. Ripe, juicy strawberries. And gold. We want chests overflowing with gold. The 12 months looked at each other, their faces grim. January stepped forward. We help those who are kind and deserving, not those who are greedy and demanding. You have shown nothing but cruelty and selfishness. You deserve nothing from us. Agatha's face turned purple with rage. How dare you refuse us? We are entitled to whatever we desire. At that moment, the weather began to change drastically. The gentle rain turned into a blizzard, the wind howled with ferocious intensity, and the temperature plummeted to an unbearable degree. The clearing was plunged into darkness as the 12 months withdrew their warmth and light. Agatha and Millicent, unprepared for the sudden onslaught of winter's fury, became lost in the blizzard. They stumbled through the snow, their fine clothes offering no protection against the biting cold. They cried and screamed for help, but their voices were swallowed by the wind. Meanwhile, Alara, safe and warm in her humble cottage, prayed for their safety, even though they had treated her so poorly. Agatha and Millicent were never seen again. Some say they were transformed into ice